everyone, it's Matt the Dice Sharker, and today on the Literary Gamers, we're going to come to you with a look about Push. This is from Ravensburger Games and designer Team Prospero Hall. And let's head down to the table to see how it plays, and then you can join me back up here and get my thoughts. Alright, so here we have Push. This has that nice retro look to it, almost has an Uno vibe. So play is going to happen, you're collecting the most points, and points are off of cards. So for example, this card has a green 5. So what you do on your turn is you find one of 3 of these like invisible columns here, and you put it in one. Okay? Alright. So then you can choose to keep pushing your luck. And then we have a blue 4. Now this blue 4 can go in any column that doesn't already have a blue or a 4. So I could put it here, and that column may be worth 9 points at the end of the game. And you keep going. Okay, so I can't put it in this one because I already have a blue and a 5 in this column, so I create my second column. And we'll keep going. This card gets put to the side. I'll explain what that means in just a moment. And then we have a red 4. This could also go right there. Then we have a green 2. Now I could put the green 2 here because green doesn't exist in this column and neither does 2. And I can keep pushing. And this is a dice card. Let's say I put that there. And I can keep pushing, so this has to go here because there's a green in this one already and a green 2 here, or even a 2. There's another dice card. Let me adjust the camera. There we go. Ish. And then, all right, so the red 2 would have to go here. Now, I could choose to stop because I didn't bust. If I stop, I take any of these 3 columns and I put them onto my bench, which is a place on the side. Let's just say that I took this column, and I'll explain the dice. When I take the column that has the rolled card, let's say this is the column as it exists now. I roll the dice, and it rolled purple X. I take all the purples in that row, in my bench that I have, and discard them. All right, that's what that does. Then the next player would take a column, and then the next player would take a column. So only 3 players in player order are going to take a column, unless this card was pulled, in which case the collection of columns goes in the other direction. All right. At any time, and that's your whole turn. If you were to instead bust and weren't able to place a card, then what happens is you discard the card that you just pulled. Then you're going to roll the dice and discard all cards from the bench that match what the dice rolled. And then you're not going to collect a stack, but the players will still collect stacks and everything else is discarded. This is going to happen until there are no cards left in the deck. At any time on your turn, just doing this for an example, like let's say I had that stack and this stack in my bench. At any time, instead of taking your turn where you're pushing the deck, you can choose to say, I'm going to bank all of my green cards, not numbered cards, it's the color. And for colorblind friendliness, there are shapes in the background of the cards as well. And they go face down in a score pile. So this is 7 points, 7 points that are untouchable. Even if green gets rolled on the dice, you do not discard what has been banked. At the end of the game, however, you will take everything in your bench and you will score that as well. And like I said, once the deck runs out, the game is over. Whoever has the most points from their collected cards in their bank and remaining on their bench is the winner of Push. So that's Push. This is a nice little game from Ravensburger, as I said before. Now, there's a lot of interesting things happening here in this game as a filler, right? This is a filler game. There's nothing more to be said about it. You create stacks, and then you pick stacks after you've decided to stop pushing, or if you busted, other players take stacks, and then there's dice rolling to determine what in your bench gets removed, what stays. But it's an interesting little game. It takes me 30 seconds, teach it. Always a fan of that. And a nice compact little box. Now, I'm going to talk about a number of things, and I'm going to try to format more of my reviews this way. And first off, who is this for? Well, it's for everybody. It's a nice little filler card game, but is it targeted towards one audience over another? And I think yes, it is. I think this is targeted more towards the lightweight gaming scene. This could be a gateway game. This could be for casual gamers, people who aren't playing things like a Lacerda design all the time or an 18xx game. This is basically just a great pub game. It's a great end of the night. It's a great start of the night, and it's also, I think, a great game to teach to people who've never played a game before outside of the mass market that you see. So that's what I think this audience That's what I think the audience for this is for. Secondly, do I think that this game will have a following? That I'm not sure of. I think a lot of people are going to turn away from this game because because the graphic design reminds them too much of Uno. Now, I know Uno has had a recent resurgence with the Marvel edition of it and the different decks you can get. But Push really looks like Uno. When we got it in the mail, it's not that we thought it was the sequel, because there is a sequel to Uno, but just the way that the graphic design is done might chase some people away, people who really don't care for that style of game. How were the mechanics? The mechanics were fairly sound. Like I said, I don't think this game is weighted any more than a 1.1. You're basically creating 3 stacks of cards, and you'll be counting them as points as the game goes on, as long as you can bank them, or at least keep them in your bench until the end of the game. The dice roll can really mess you up, and I can see a lot of people being upset that the dice roll tanked their game. And any time a dice roll can tank a lot of points, the first thing I look at is, and does it have it on here? It does not have it on here. It just says ages 8+ with 2 to 6 players. It doesn't give you a time. This took us 15 minutes to play at 2 players. Let me see if it has anything here in the rulebook about how long the game should be. But basically, you go through the deck once, and that's that. So, to say that the dice pretty much messed up your game and destroyed your experience in the game, I can understand where that's coming from, but the game is also so short that I wouldn't be too angry if that happened to me. So, do I recommend the game? Yes, I recommend it for non-gamers. I recommend it for casual gamers. Teaching non-gamers, I recommend it for people who really just enjoy quick card games as an opening or closer to the night. As far as the what's mechanically different here, honestly, not much. It is a push your luck kind of column building and then scoring points game. We are going to keep it because it is a game that I believe we can teach to others in our lives who don't play games or who are interested in playing games but don't want to jump into the deep end of all of this. All right. So, Push. Have you played it? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And thanks for joining me. It's a bit of a short review today, but hey, we get those every once in a while. We'll see you next time, folks. Bye.